So here we have this Serene Life small air hockey table. Now in this video, I'm going to really quickly unbox it and show you how to put it together, and then I'll give you a quick review. Alright, so here's how it came packaged. It came in this big flat box, and opening it up, looks like it has some decent packaging on the inside, and here's all those pieces laid out. There's not too many pieces here, so it should be pretty simple to put together, and all these parts are labeled and have threaded inserts and pre-drilled holes. Here's a better look at the hardware that we're going to use to put it together. Looks like all these machine screws are the same length, which should make it even easier. And of course, it also comes with this instruction manual, which will help with that. It also comes with a couple of these thin MDF boards here, but I'm pretty sure these are just for packaging. Anyway, let's go ahead and put this thing together, and I'm going to time it to see how long it takes. Alright, so first we're going to flip the tabletop upside down, and then we can attach the legs by lining up the holes on the inside and screwing them in from the outside. Each one takes 3 machine screws, and I recommend leaving these a little bit loose so you can line everything up later. Anyway, then we can attach these horizontal braces, starting with the long ones, and when you're installing these, the flat sides will be pointed towards the top of the table. Also, when you put these on, you can tighten these up all the way, and then when you're finished putting them on, you can tighten up the rest of the screw. And then finally, to finish off the legs, thread in the 4 leveling feet. Next, we're going to wire this thing up, starting with the scorekeeper. Just pass the cord through this hole here, and then straight through this hole here, and plug it into the matching port on the box. And you can also take the power cord, pass it through that same hole, and plug it in. Next, we're going to wire up the scorekeepers. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter which one you put on which side. And you're just going to kind of pass the cord through all of these pre-drilled holes, and then secure it under this Velcro strap, put it through the same hole as the other cords, and plug it into the back of the box. And then do the same exact thing with the other side. One thing to mention here is that it's not really clear which port you're supposed to plug which side into, so if they end up being backwards and counting points for the wrong side, just switch them around. Anyway though, next we can stand the table up, and then attach the goal boxes. They just take one of these small screws on each side, and then attach the scorekeeper. It faces inwards and also takes 2 screws. Alright, and there we go. I just finished putting it together. That was super simple, and it took just under half an hour. And for a small sized air hockey table, this thing works alright, but it does have a bit of an issue, which I'll get to in just a minute. Alright, so this air hockey table is made out of MDF, which you can see on the bottom here. The legs and leg supports are also made of MDF, and they have these leveling feet, which are nice because they allow you to get this tabletop perfectly level. As far as overall sturdiness, it isn't 100% solid. You can see there is a little bit of wiggle, but for a lightweight table like this, I think that's perfectly acceptable, and honestly, it is a bit more stable than I thought it would be. Anyway, each corner is rounded with these plastic caps on them, and then on each end is a plastic goal box, and it works pretty well. The pucks kind of just slide in, and then there's a little slot that you can pull them out of. There's a manual scorekeeper on top, simple to use, works pretty well, and there's also some sensors that are built into it that'll automatically keep track of points and display them over here. This thing over here is the digital scorekeeper, and it actually works pretty well. Of course, it comes with a power cord that you're going to want to plug in, and once you do that, you can press this button, and the fan will turn on, and the scoreboard will light up. You can see when I take one of these pucks and slide it into the goal, it gives the opposite side a point. The scoreboard also has 2 buttons on it that are really helpful. The button on the right is for resetting the score, and if you press the button on the left, you can turn off the table, which is a really helpful feature, because otherwise you'd have to plug in and then unplug the table every time you wanted to use it. Anyway, it comes with 4 of these plastic pushers, and they have felt on the bottom so they glide around smoothly. And then it comes with 2 of these plastic pucks. And once you turn it on and the air is blowing, the pucks glide really well. The fan is plenty powerful enough to keep the pucks moving, and the overall gameplay is pretty good. That being said, this air hockey table isn't quite as good as one of the larger ones you might find at an arcade, and it does have a couple issues, so let me get into those right now. And the first problem I have is that you can't hit the pucks with your full force, because if you do, they're likely going to fly off the table. Hitting the pucks with a soft tap works just fine, but if you are a little too rough with them, they fly off the table pretty easily. And another thing I want to point out is I'm not a huge fan of the plastic pieces in the corner, because when the pucks hit them, they don't quite rebound as well. The other issue, which may not be such a big deal, but I still wanted to point it out, is that the goal is just small enough, so if you put the pusher directly in the center, then that completely blocks it off, and you cannot sneak a puck past it. But an easy fix is to just cut them about 3/4 of an inch wider on each side, which is something I'd highly recommend if you get this table. Apart from those 2 things though, I'd say this is a pretty good lightweight table. It is definitely small and it's not perfect, but for the price, I'd say it works pretty well. I really like the automatic scorekeeper, and the button to turn it on and off is super helpful as well. And since it's not a huge table, it actually works great for smaller spaces.